Can't get it. Now Kobe for three. I don't believe it. Incredible. One. Add to his career. Okay. 62 for Kobe. Kobe threw three, acknowledging the crowd on their feet.
From that footage that just played, you would think that the game had come to an end and that Kobe had hit a game winner or something. But the game actually had another quarter to go. On December 20th, 2005, the Lakers faced off against the Dallas Mavericks and Kobe Bryant put on a scoring clinic, putting up his then career high of 62 points, and he did it in 3 quarters, finishing with great efficiency and an insane plus 35 in a blowout victory. And in those 3 quarters, Kobe also outscored the whole Mavericks team, which is why he got the standing ovation which you saw in the intro.
I usually have the luxury of starting the game guarding him, and something was a little bit different about this game. He was really aggressive to start the game.
He didn't even play the 4th quarter. He for sure would have had 80, for sure, without a doubt.
And he's just making every shot known to man. He has this look in his eyes like it's going to be one of those nights.
Kobe came out super aggressive from the start, but something that happened early in the third shifted the momentum of the game. With about 7 minutes and 50 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, Kobe was fouled hard by Josh Howard on a drive to the basket, and it was ruled to be a flagrant foul. After a scuffle nearly broke out between the players, Mavs coach Avery Johnson, who had received an early technical, did not like the call, and while expressing his frustration to the referee, he got a second technical and was ejected from the game. With Johnson out, Mavs assistant Del Harris stepped in for him. And for the rest of the quarter, Kobe torched the Mavs, putting up 22 points in the remaining 7 minutes.
Have some calls that they don't like. He was trying to make a statement for his teammates. Kobe on the crossover. Got it again against New Jersey. Kobe doesn't have the numbers, but boy, he's trying to make his own statement. On the reverse. In the NBA this season with 52. The rate tonight is Joe Jackson. 6 boards with 9 points. Kobe trying to lose his man on the... what a start to an MVP season for Kobe on the leader. Yes! 1-60 with 26 seconds left. Adding. Get it. Now Kobe for three. I don't believe it.
And that's how we arrived at the moment you saw in the intro. What's interesting though is that just a week before that 60 piece, Kobe had put up another high-scoring 43-point game in Dallas. Which is why after the game, reporters asked Kobe what it was about the Mavs that got him going, and he responded saying, Del Harris. Del Harris was the Lakers head coach in Kobe's first 2 seasons in the league, and for the first 12 games in his 3rd season. Throughout Kobe's career, he expressed how much he felt like he was held back by Harris as a young player in what he described as some of his lowest moments in the league.
What was a low moment in your career? I don't really see you having that.
It was a couple of them. Well, losing to the Celtics in 08 was tough. But before that, like at the beginning of the journey, was not playing.
Interesting.
Right? Because I felt like my coach, Del Harris at the time, was trying to make sure he did not show favoritism to the young kid. And as a result, he swung completely the opposite direction and doing things that weren't really fair. And I mean, not playing. You know, so like my first 2-3 years were nightmares.
People don't know that.
This wasn't a beef by any means, and the purpose of this video is not to vilify Del Harris. The two had a lot of respect for each other, but like a lot of other great competitors, those early experiences fueled Kobe every time he faced off against his former coach.
I went the villainous route. It was just like, okay, well, you want to bury me here on this bench? Everybody's going to pay for this. I'm going to show everyone that, no, I was deserving of this playing time as a rookie and as a, my sophomore season. Del Harris, still to this day, I mean, we joke about it a lot because he really didn't play me much. I remember that game when he came to LA with the Dallas Mavericks. And he was the head coach of that game.
Yep.
I looked over and I said, oh yeah, he's gonna have to pay for that. He's gonna have to pay for that. I remember telling him that. He said, Kobe, that was in 1997, man. No, I can't let that go.
Kobe had a rich career with many different chapters, from number 8 Afro Kobe, who was an absolute scoring machine that was set on becoming the greatest to ever do it, to the more mature number 24, who was polished, with little to prove as an individual, but with a lot of hunger for more championships, to even the old vet who spent much of his later years with the young Lakers team. But the beginning of the journey is rarely talked about, even though it's also a big part of Kobe's story and his eventual trajectory. That's what this video is for. But before we take a deep dive into the early experiences and struggles of Kobe Bryant, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. Let's try and hit 500 likes for this one. Now let's get into it. It's been almost 3 decades, and the 1996 draft is still one of the most legendary draft classes in NBA history. Very few classes can rival this one, and yet with all the legends that came from this class, there's no doubt who the best player from the draft was when it was all said and done. That of course is Kobe, who was taken at the 13th spot, becoming the first guard in NBA history to be drafted out of high school. In hindsight, it's easy to question how he fell to the 13th spot, but at the time, it seemed like one of the very few people who saw what Kobe could become was the logo himself, Jerry West.
He can go get a shot for himself anytime he wants. In the NBA,
even in the NBA, he'll be able to create shots.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Yes, he will.
With more mature prospects like Iverson, Marcus Camby, Ray Allen, and others, it was easier for teams to overlook 17-year-old Kobe. The Clippers, for example, famously passed on Bryant despite an impressive pre-draft workout because, quote, they didn't think Clippers fans would get behind drafting a 17-year-old high school player. So they took Lorenzen Wright with the 7th pick. But in another one of his pre-draft workouts, Kobe wowed the Lakers and left a lasting impression on Jerry West, who knew that was his guy by the end of the workout.
As soon as we finish that workout, Kobe goes down. We all, as a coaching staff, we get over there, and Jerry West, I never forget this. He goes, "That's the one."
For Kobe's workout, West took a different approach than he usually did with other prospects, and he invited former Laker and member of the coaching staff Michael Cooper to give Kobe a unique but challenging workout.
So Jerry goes, "Cooper, this kid we're bringing down, we want you to deny him pick and roll situations, keep him out of low post."
Not too long into the workout, it was easy for the Lakers staff to spot his competitive edge and skill, which ultimately stamped the 17-year-old's potential in the minds of some who were in attendance.
"Kobe, how you doing?" I'm like, "Okay, this young kid," and he sized me up. That's the thing that kind of like caught me, is he looked me up and down.
To watch him work out, it was like ridiculous, okay? I mean, he's like a man playing against kindergarten people. That's how advanced he was.
And it was probably the best workout I've ever had. And I mean, a lot of people say Kobe kicked my ass. I'm gonna agree. I think I got after his ass.
Yeah?
He wasn't afraid of anything, and it was genuine. It's not verbiage.
Right.
Kobe was elbowing and hitting me, and I'm like, oh my God, I hadn't felt that kind of pain since. Anyway, so.
Following that workout, Jerry West was set on getting Kobe, and he managed to do so after trading Vlade Divac to the Hornets in a deal that gave the Lakers the rights to the 13th pick. With such high praise from the Lakers general manager, you'd have thought that Kobe was going to be a crucial part of what the Lakers were doing right from the jump, but that wasn't the case. In his rookie season, Kobe averaged 7.6 points, 1.9 rebounds, and 1.3 assists in 15 minutes per game. He ranked 11th on the team in minutes per game, and that 15 minutes is only an average. He actually played 15 or more minutes in just 35 games, which is less than half of the season. While Kobe's lack of playing time can partly be attributed to the fact that he was playing behind an all-star guard in Eddie Jones, or that he broke his wrist in the summer before training camp, his lack of minutes was largely due to head coach Del Harris. Harris was a well-respected coach in the league, and he even won the Coach of the Year award in 1995. But one knock on his coaching style was his tendency to withhold minutes from young players, and with Kobe, he held back minutes particularly more than what was warranted. As you saw earlier, Kobe described that to be some of the lowest moments in his career, even rivaling the loss to the Celtics in 2008. What made it harder for Kobe was the fact that his peers from the draft were already making their mark in the league in a way that he also felt capable of doing if he had been given a chance.
No, it was tough. I mean, I sit around, I watch all my peers going out there playing 35, 37 minutes. You know, AI, Ray Allen, they're all doing their thing. Sharif Abdul-Rahim, everybody's doing their thing. And I'm sitting here glued to the bench, getting really, really pissed off and ticked off, thinking I should have just gone to college. I mean, that was the hardest part.
But the other side to this whole thing was that Kobe wasn't a polished player either. His shooting splits were below average, he averaged more turnovers than assists, and at 18, he weighed about 200 pounds, which made him a liability on defense sometimes. He was still very much a developing player and wasn't deserving of very heavy minutes early on because he was adjusting to a new role and a new style of basketball. And his coach also questioned the maturity of his game, saying, quote, Kobe would put it on the floor and start going between his legs back and forth, and only then would he decide what to do. But Kobe's eagerness and drive to get on the court made him feel like he deserved a bigger role, and he even let Harris know how he felt multiple times. In one practice, Kobe asked Harris if he could take Shaquille O'Neal off of the low post and let him operate there instead. Why? Because he believed that nobody could stop him one-on-one down low. Harris retold the story quoting Kobe as he said, "Coach, if you just give me the ball and clear out, I can beat anybody in this league. I can post up anybody who's guarding me. If you just get me in there and clear it out, I can post up anybody." I'm all for confidence, but this was a rookie asking his coach to replace 350-pound prime Shaq in the low post. That was a little bit delusional on Kobe's part. But it's interesting how confidence and self-belief works, because even though that was a crazy request from Kobe, the low post was actually where he operated best in his prime. And it was also what Michael Cooper found most impressive in his pre-draft workout. So he was right about his abilities, but the time hadn't come for him to be fully unleashed as the guy that a team could depend on. He needed just a little bit more time to develop. And that's exactly what Harris emphasized, because he always told Kobe that his time was coming, but that it was just not then. That was not just a tough time for Kobe on the court, but off of it as well. He was also a teenager who was struggling to socially adjust to a team and a league that was filled with grown adults, and this pushed him into isolation.
And I was one of the guys when he was a rookie, and a lot of guys were upset at him because back then you could bring beer in the locker room. And when we got him on the team, it was like, no more beer?
Yep.
Oh man, you messing everything up, the kid. And I think that was kind of the thing that when guys were hazing someone, it kind of pushed Kobe away from a lot of guys, because back then you weren't used to an 18-year-old kid coming in the league, and he's a good 18-year-old kid. He's going to take someone's spot. And so a lot of guys were kind of, standoffish to him. But for me,
Mike Silsky, the author of the book The Rise, which covered Kobe's early years of his career, shared more on the social struggles.
Aspect of it too is that Kobe is totally isolated socially on that team. The other 11 guys on the Lakers in 1996 and 1997 are men. They have been in the NBA for a while. They're going out to clubs at night. They're going to dinner together. He's 17 or 18 years old.
Kobe reportedly spent most of his days with his agent's assistant, along with her friends, but even then, he was still a bit of an outsider with that crowd.
And he would go to her townhouse after games to watch episodes of Mr. Bean, the comedy show on HBO, or if she were having a dinner party with her friends or her roommates, Kobe would be there and not participate in the party. He would just sit on the couch and watch TV because he didn't have anything else to do and didn't have anywhere else to go. And it's kind of revealing. It's really revealing about what he was dealing with at that time in his life.
Even with all this, though, he still managed to make the most of his situation and the cards he was dealt by improving as the season progressed. It paid off on the court because Kobe was getting more minutes, and by the end of the season, the Lakers also made the playoffs, matching up against the Jazz in the first round. The Jazz were finals bound and a much better team at the time, so Kobe didn't play much in the first few games. But after very solid production from him in Game 3, where he had 19 points in 19 minutes, helping the Lakers to get their first win of the series, he earned nearly 30 minutes in the 2 games that followed. However, both games were losses, and the loss in the elimination game fell on rookie Kobe, who decided to take matters into his own hands in the clutch after Shaq fouled out in the 4th. First, there was the shot to give the Lakers the lead in regulation at the end of the game.
Bryant drives, pull up, shot on the way, no good.
After the airball, the game went to overtime, and even at the start of OT, Kobe launched again.
Cross court left, open Kobe Bryant for 3, another airball.
The Jazz were punching back, and although Kobe hit a floater with 2 minutes left, he was ultimately unable to answer the call when the team needed it most.
Backs it out, straight away to Kobe Bryant. Bryant for 3, it's short again, airball. Airball, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Here's a three-pointer, airball again. By Kobe Bryant, another airball. 4 seconds left, it's Stockton, it's over.
To me, those moments reflected the same attitude that Kobe showed in the practice story which Del Harris shared. It's a perfect visual of how Kobe was confident and hungry for the big moment, but just not ready and experienced enough to handle it. Even though the Jazz bench was mocking and laughing at him, he gained the utmost respect from the people that mattered the most within the Lakers organization, namely Shaq, who was quick to encourage him in that moment.
That's why I was the first one to come grab you and say, hey, I know everybody's laughing and giggling out, but one day people will fear you at the end of the game.
Jerry West, who was impressed by his fearlessness, and Del Harris.
At the timeout, he said, Coach, if you let me shoot this last one, I'll drain it for you. And I believed him, and I would believe him again.
Just the next day, Kobe reportedly began his off-season workouts because he knew that he needed to get stronger and better conditioned for big moments like that. In the next season, he came in stronger and the game had slowed down for him, which showed in his play and his confidence. In addition, his coach was ready to use him as a key part of what they were doing, and so his minutes went up to 26 per game, and his points per game also doubled, along with improvement in his overall stats. But he was still coming off the bench for the Lakers, which didn't make too much sense, especially after he was selected as a starter in the All-Star game. If there was ever a time when those accusations of holding back Kobe looked most true, it was then. And it was around this time that Kobe was most vocal about Harris not being fair with his rotations and minutes allocation. But Harris emphasized that he believed in the importance of the sixth man role. And if you're trying to view it from the coach's perspective, you could say that it was a sixth man because he was still playing with two other all-star guards. But objectively speaking, there's no reason why a player of Kobe's caliber only started 1 game in that season and 7 games in his first 2 seasons. He finished his second season with solid production in the playoffs, and his opportunity was right around the corner, but not how he envisioned it. When the 1999 season began, Lakers forward Rick Fox was struggling with injuries in both feet. His backup was also injured, which left Del Harris with no option but to start Kobe, who went on to put up double-doubles in the first 5 games of the season.
Then he had no choice but to start me at small forward. And so this was when like small forwards were big. Small forwards.
Yeah.
It was KG, this is Sharif Abdul-Rahim, this is Pip, this is like, so I started the first 10 games at small forward. I think I started like 7 straight double-doubles or something like that. And then I've been in the starting lineup ever since. Who the hell knows how long when I came off the bench before Rick didn't get injured. So.
With that kind of start, it would have been insane to put Kobe back on the bench, and also 12 games into that season, Harris was fired from the head coaching position and replaced by Phil Jackson in what became the first year of a three-peat. Harris was later hired as an assistant on the Mavericks coaching staff. The first time Kobe faced off against the Mavs with Del Harris, he put up 38, 10, and 6, which I think to some extent was him trying to make a statement, but the real statement game was the 62-point game you saw in the beginning. What's interesting about the 62-point game is that Kobe only played 3 quarters and was asked if he wanted to go back in the fourth to get 70, to which he replied, "I'll get it another time." And lo and behold, he scored 81 just a month later. Kobe's early years were pretty formative, and I wanted to cover them in this video because it's always easy to point and celebrate at the glamorous parts of a person's story, but in reality, it's usually in those low moments that the true character and true greatness that stands the test of time is harnessed. And that was the case with Kobe Bryant. Let me know if you enjoyed this video by leaving a like or a comment, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos. Until next time, peace.